What's up, everyone, and welcome to a Bitcoin hot take. We are looking at Bitcoin at a new all-time high, fresh off of the break above the previous all-time high from the 21st of February here. And we are currently operating above the resistance level right here, which is at the previous all-time high of 58,354 on this exchange. A couple things to note here. We changed the trend on the daily time frame, and we have since just been riding extremely bullish up, and we've not came down to form a higher low just yet. What that is telling me is if we end up closing this candle and the next daily candle above this red zone, I will look to long a retest of that zone, and it would look something like this. We close this candle above, we close the next one, we come down, we come into it, and then we enter along right here with our stop loss below the red zone, and we target new all-time highs. Now, what are the resistance levels that I'm currently watching right now as we go to new all-time highs? One of the indicators that I personally like to use for areas like this where we're in price discovery is the pivot point standard indicator. And if we go to the weekly time frame, it's a little bit more helpful for the current moment in time. This is our next major resistance level, and that's up at about 63K. So that is the R3 pivot for the weekly time frame. So that will be the area that I expect price to potentially slow down at, depending on what the daily price action is looking like. If we look at the daily time frame, the next level here, I'm just going to turn these historical ones off. They are a little obtrusive. The next one is the R2 up here at about 71K. Now, something to note is if we go to the hourly time frame, the 4-hour time frame, we have another one to watch, and that is right here at about 61.7. So this is the closest one, the closest resistance level for Bitcoin using this indicator. The next one is about at 63K. It's somewhere right here. You can't see it because we're looking at the hourly pivots, but that's the weekly one, the most significant one. And then up from there is the daily one. First you have the next hourly one, which is at about 66.2, and then from there you go up to the next one, which is at about 70,700. But where am I looking to make an entry right now? Because if we were to miss the entry that I had down here on the purple zone, and we missed our entries down here at these pink levels right here, which we did not get filled at because this was a daily trade that I was watching for if we retest this zone. Now, it's still possible, but it's very unlikely that we end up closing this daily candle below this high. If we do end up doing that, that will be what we will call a swing failure pattern. And in this case, that would be a bearish swing failure pattern. So that means that the price traded above a key high, in this case right here, this high, but the candle closed back below that level. So that is telling you that that potentially was a run on stops. So what that means is the whales in the market, the big players, pushed the price up past a point where they knew people's stop losses would be, so then they could get their orders filled. Because when people's stop losses get triggered, that is adding money onto the order books. So the whales, the big players, can then fill their $50-100 million positions with the people's stop loss, with the people's stop losses that just got triggered. So that is really the only bearish scenario in this case scenario, in my opinion. The other bear scenario, there's the one other bear scenario I can see is if we close this candle above the high, but then the next day we close the candle back below that high. Then maybe potentially we can get pushed back to this zone where I will still look to enter a long position. But as of right now, the levels that I'm currently looking at, if we look at the 12-hour time frame, we just had this nice down candle right here before we pushed up and continued the 12-hour trend of higher lows and higher highs. Now, if this 12-hour candle closes above this high right here from the 11th at 58,155 on this exchange, this will end up being, this black candle will end up being a very strong support level. Additionally, if we close above this yellow zone, which is our initial resistance level, you can see we rejected off that level twice before closing above it. That will also be a very strong support level for us. That closes in about 8.5 hours, so that is also a level that I will look to long. So it looks something like this, where I enter and I put my stop loss back below that yellow level, and I'm targeting, you know, those pivot levels. So the first one is right here, and that would be about a 2.78 risk reward. So it's still a really good risk reward trade there. If we do not come back to this zone and we just come up to this level, we may reject off of it and then come back into it. But this main yellow zone right here and this black candle, this high, and this white candle right over here are the main levels that I'm watching on the 12-hour time frame. If we go to the 4-hour time frame, which everyone has, that has a free account on TradingView, the other entry is if in 38 minutes we close above this 4-hour high right here. From the 12th of March at 16 o'clock, that is military time, you can see that we changed the trend here on the 4-hour time frame with a low, high, higher low, and then higher high. Now, if we end up closing this candle above, what that then creates is it turns this black candle right here into a valid support level. So we will use this rectangle right here as our little guide. That will tell us this is a support level, and we will look to long a retest of that zone with our stop loss below. So it will look something like this. And once again, we're targeting that pivot level up here. So that would be about a 3.6 risk reward. So in 37 minutes, I will put my bids in for that level if we end up closing this candle above that high, which at this point seems pretty likely considering that the Ichimoku cloud is in the most bullish pattern that it can be in, as well as we are currently on in the most bullish pattern for the 12-hour Ichimoku cloud as well. As you can see right here with the Tenkan above the Kijun, both of those above the cloud being green and the price being far above all of that as well. That's all I got for this Bitcoin update. And if you like this video, give it a like, subscribe for future market updates as well as educational content around cryptocurrency and blockchain. And I will see you guys all tomorrow. Have a good weekend.